What's up, everybody? Don Martelli back at you with the latest edition of the PR Bunker podcast. Talking nonprofits again today, this time with my buddy Richard Greif, who's got a long established career in the space, talking about the challenges organizations like his face and the opportunities there are to engage with donors and others in a variety of ways. Hello, everybody, and thank you for joining me on the latest edition of the PR Bunker podcast. I'm here with my friend Rich Greif, and talk about nonprofit marketing, public relations. And if you don't know Rich, you should follow his bouncing ball of his career, because he's worked at some very, very notable nonprofits over the years, and I've been really impressed with the work that he's done on behalf of those organizations. So, Rich, thank you for joining me today.
Yeah, it's great to be with you, Don. Thank you for having me.
No problem. Tell the audience a little bit about your background and what are you doing now?
Sure. I've really committed to using my marketing and communication skills to make life better for adults and children in need. It's really been a consistent thread throughout my career. I started early as a volunteer with Big Brothers Big Sisters, and eventually decided I really wanted to put my skills and time and talent toward helping children and adults. So I've done that in a variety of organizations, from national ones like Read to a Child and Make-A-Wish, Big Brothers Big Sisters. Organizations like that really focus on children and families. I currently am the director of communications and development for the Guild for Human Services, which helps youth and adults with intellectual disabilities to lead high quality lives. And I also teach a business writing and communications class at Boston University.
So you're a busy man, busy man. One of the things I've always said about nonprofits is I feel like the world is upside down, where the organizations that need the most help are usually the most underfunded and under-resourced. And I'm sure you have a team of 40 people doing all the things you do in the office, and I'm being sarcastic here. You know what it's like to fight those battles. Talk to me about your work for the Guild and just in general with nonprofits. How do you get all that done between brand building, fundraising, influencer relations? And I'm sure you do everything from the website to social media. How do you cover the shorefront there? That's pretty daunting.
Yeah, I mean, I think it really starts at the beginning with the sort of why and what is it that you're hoping to accomplish. It's easy for a lot of nonprofits to just feel like they're having a lot of activity and posting and sharing stuff, but it all comes back to what are your goals and what are your strategy? What is it that you're really trying to accomplish? At the Guild here, for example, obviously, we have great human interest stories of the children and adults that we serve and the staff that we employ. But it's not just about that work. It's and brand building. It's really also about being thought leaders on the issues that matter, both to the children and families we serve, and really also very much so for the staff that we employ.
That's great. Talk about you and I are young bucks, air quotes. So we've been in this business a long time. How has the job changed and or been the same over the years? Because I think I'm sure you can talk about your different stops on your career, but how has the work changed at all, and how things stay the same?
Yeah, I mean, I think essentially, really, the key for great branding for many organizations is really the consistency and really being out there on a regular basis. As I say to all my colleagues, and they know, we're competing for the same eyeballs. So we have to create really compelling content. And I think just like any business, I think everyone is expecting more out of brands in terms of authenticity, storytelling, the impact that they're making. And really, even more so, obviously, in the past year or so, where do we stand on issues? One of the big things for the Guild, in fact, is communicating our stance on the intersection of our work with racial and ethnic justice. I think consumers of all type really demand to know where businesses stand on these issues, and the Guild is really no different. We have a extremely diverse staff from many different countries around the world, and their work and their mission is important to us, and we have to elevate the work that we are doing with them.
That's a good point. I mean, I think a couple things you brought up there. One, storytelling, I think, will continue to be at the core of what we collectively do, whether it's my work at the Belfort Group or your work there for the Guild. And it takes many forms, right? It's video, it's TikToks, it's Snapchat, it's long form. I'm still probably like you, old school. I love picking up the newspaper and because you can read the paper from front to back versus you can't read the entire internet. But we're still storytellers. And it leads me to my next question, which is sort of, what are the opportunities for you now in this new role at the Guild and for the Guild in general in terms of, bringing your skill set to the table with that integrated storytelling thinking? What are the things you're excited about in the coming months and years, if you will, with your work around the Guild?
Yeah, I think the diversity, equity, and inclusion piece is really important. We're partnering, for example, with the International Institute of New England on a project that they run called Suitcase Stories,
Oh, wow.
which interviews and talks with immigrants to this country and really talks a lot about their deep personal stories. And so for us, we're going through a process where staff are being trained right now on how to tell their story. And normally we do that in an in-person forum at the end,
Sure.
but we're going to videotape them and kind of roll them out. So there's so many great stories and perspectives. The diversity that we have is really both in life experience as well as racial and ethnic background. So it's a wonderful opportunity for us to tell the many diverse, rich stories of the staff that work with us. At the same time, we want to be thought leaders as part of the movement around youth and adults with intellectual disabilities. There's so many important things that people still don't really know. Even COVID was an important example of just how isolated so many children and adults were. While
Sure.
typical parents were fighting to have their kids just go out and play soccer.
Yep.
We were under much stricter restrictions where families couldn't necessarily see their children, and so that really goes against our principle of ever limiting the human rights of any individual. And so it's created some unique challenges for us. So there's really a lot underneath the covers of the work that we do, whether it's with our staff, with the children and adults that we serve, or the parents and families, and really bringing some of those stories to light, humanizing them in a really authentic way is really, really important for us.
I absolutely love that suitcase concept. I mean, that the name itself just bleeds into creative storytelling. And you're right, there's a skill to it. I mean, taking somebody from page 1 to page 300. You want to keep people engaged, and in a world where one scroll up from the next piece of content, keeping people engaged in that regard can be pretty difficult. Talk a little bit more about sort of the mission of the Guild and the goals for this year in terms of whether it be fundraising or outside of brand building and storytelling. What are some other things you'd like to share with the audience about the work that you all do?
Yeah, I mean, our focus is really on improving the quality of life for individuals with intellectual disabilities and helping lead them toward as productive a life, as they possibly can. So much of our work is continuing to figure out how we can deliver high quality services, what services and resources can we add. So we really look at it in terms of how can we continue to best support the children and adults and their families with the resources they need to provide as high quality a program as possible. So that's really our overarching focus. Interestingly, we started with adults some number of years ago in residential programming. And so we actually now have to really think about kind of their full life cycle and what services they will continue to need over time. So it's a relatively newer endeavor for us, but it's an important one and how we, again, continue to deliver the type of educational and vocational support that they need to lead really productive lives.
It's super important. I mean, I know from personal experience, I have a member of my family who does have intellectual disabilities, and just to see the people that are around Stevie and how happy he is to see them and the program they create for him at home or when he's able to visit the location. It's good to see because it's daunting on parents and guardians it's a full-time job and we're not trained as clinicians and experts to deal with this. So I commend you and the team at the Guild and other locations to do this day in, day out. And now with challenges around COVID and not being around people, it makes it so much more difficult, but the mission still exists. You still have to deliver on that mission, which is, it's a daunting task, but I know your work. I know that you love a good challenge and you're up for it. And I know that, can't wait to see what you guys do throughout the course of this year and the impact you make. Any other last bit of advice for those that are working in the nonprofit space around typical, marketing communications and maintaining the energy around the story? What advice would you leave for our audience here?
Yeah, I think, especially in our field and almost all the fields I've worked in, we're all part of a broader movement. And so, it's not just about us as an individual just pushing out content and engaging audiences. We're all part of a larger movement. And so being part and connected to that movement and really helping elevate all of our causes together is really, really important. We have some great networks in our community that we're a part of. And so all of us are stronger when we're advocating and working together for the same thing. So it's easy sometimes to be just very insular and just focused on yourself, but there's a really important world. And there's many organizations and partners out there that really appreciate seeing a broader movement toward a specific goal.
Now, that's a wonderful message, because you're right about it takes a village, right? I mean, you are dead on, because while you are competing for eyeballs and dollars, you're right, the power of many, I think, is more impactful at times. So it's smart of you to think that way. If people wanted to know more about your background and or the Guild, where can they find you and information about the Guild?
Yeah, our website is guildhumanservices.org. So you can find us there and find me there, or you can certainly find me on LinkedIn at Rich Greif, Greif.
There you go. Well, Rich, this has been wonderful. Thank you for all the work that you do and you have done in the nonprofit space. I have admired your work over the years, and really good brands, really good work. And I commend the passion you have for this, because not people stay in it for that long. And you have been one of those guys that I followed all along. So I really appreciate the work. And I can't wait to see what happens over the course of this year and the work at the Guild that you do, because I know you'll be doing some really cool things. And at some point, I'll open up the Globe and there'll be some article in there. I'm like, oh, that was Rich. And I just know that at some point you'll get the Guild again on the map, because obviously they've been around for quite some time. And I know that you'll bring some special things there. So thank you again for joining me. And we'll do this again soon.
Great. Thank you so much, Don. I appreciate it.
No problem. Thanks again for joining me on the PR Bunker podcast. I really enjoyed my conversation with Rich and learning more about his work at the Guild, and just generally talking about how nonprofits like his, face an uphill battle with getting people engaged and supporting their organization and mission and driving funds and things of that nature. Just so impressed with the work that the nonprofits do in the greater Boston area here, raising money and just getting people engaged. It's just really hard work, and I've always said that the world is upside down, where the organizations that need the most help tend to have the least amount of resources to do so. But check out Rich and his work there. Check out the Guild. In the meantime, if you want to get more episodes of the PR Bunker podcast, you can find them on Spotify and Apple, as well as at theprbunker.com. Until next time, thanks for joining.